this question is asking us to graph the piecewise function and answer the questions that are asked. So the first thing that I need to do is look at each piece, and each piece has a region in which it lives. I can graph x plus 2, which is this graph here, but I don't want to use the entire piece. I only want to use the part that lives between -6 and 2, which means I need to erase this piece here. I also need to be careful about open or closed dots. If I'm less than or equal to, like -6, I can use a nice, clear, closed dot. At 2, I cannot equal to, so I'm going to use an open dot. That's my first piece. My second piece, f of x equals -7. F of x is just another fancy way of saying y equals -7, and x equals 2. So at that point, I can go to -7, which is down here, and put a nice closed dot because we equal that point. The last piece is asking me to graph -x plus 9. -x plus 9 is going to give me a graph that looks something like this. But I can't use it in all of the domain of the graph. I have to restrict it to when x is greater than 2. So for that, I can only use this portion of the graph. And again, I need to be very clear about my open dot here at 2, 7. This piece on the end gets an arrow because it can continue on and on. So question A is asking me to find the domain. My domain is all possible x values. I start here at -6 and continue on as far as that arrow will go, which is out to infinity. So since I can include -6, my domain is -6 to infinity with a bracket on this -6. The range is asking me for all possible y values. So I start up here at 7 with my y values and continue as far as my arrow will take me, which is to -infinity. So I go from -infinity up to 7, and since 7 has an open dot, I have to use a parenthesis there. C is asking me to find my x and my y intercepts. My x-intercept is anywhere where my graph crosses the x-axis. So I see that I have one clearly at -2, 0. There's also one that's going to be out here somewhere, so that piece comes from the equation -x plus 9. If I set that equal to 0, I get -x equals -9. So x equals 9. So I'm going to have another x-intercept at 9, 0. My y-intercept is when my graph crosses the y-axis. So my y-intercept is at 0, 2.